It's just beginning for you, Harvey. All right, welcome back to the second half of our show here, or the third, or whatever it ends up being. But we're going to have our Quilts of Valor presentation right now. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good evening, friends, veterans, and family. As we gather again to show our support for the veterans in the VA Transportation Program. First of all, I'd like to thank Tim Johnson for putting together this program since 2008.
It didn't happen without a lot of other people.
But everything needs a coordinator. And so, Tim, we want to give you a token of our appreciation for your continued support of the local veterans.
Well, thank you very much. It's very undeserved, but I will treasure it always. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate what you guys are doing for the veterans too. Thank you.
Thank you. I am honored to be here at this 2024 Veterans Give a Lift program. I'm Gladys Lucan, a lifelong resident of Clearwater County, and I'm humbled to stand before you, men and women who have served our country, performed your duty, and fought for our freedom that we enjoy today. I'm eternally grateful to each of you, and thank you for your service and sacrifice. I'm here as a member of the Headwaters Quilt Guild that meets in Bemidji, but has members from Clearwater County as well as Beltrami. As a group, our guild and many individuals are members of the Quilts of Valor. And that's the reason I'm here tonight, to award a Quilt of Valor to 4 veterans that have been selected and agreed to receive this honor. As a representative of the Quilts of Valor, it is my responsibility to inform others about Quilts of Valor and encourage groups and individuals throughout to join in making quilts or make a financial donation so that we can honor, comfort, and thank all military persons. Our goal will not be complete until we award a Quilt of Valor to all that serve or have served. What is the Quilts of Valor? The Quilts of Valor Foundation is in its 21st year, as began in 2003 with a dream, literally a dream. Founder Catherine Roberts' son was deployed in Iraq, and Carolyn continues, the dream was as vivid as real life. I saw a young man sitting on the side of his bed in the middle of the night, hunched over. The permeating feeling was one of utter despair. I could see his war demons clustered around him, dragging him down in an emotional gutter. Then, as if viewing a movie, I saw him in the next scene, wrapped in a quilt. His whole demeanor changed from one of despair to one of hope and well-being. The quilt had made this dramatic change. Carolyn continues, the message of my dream was, quilts equal healing. The model appeared simple, have a volunteer team, and that's where our quilt guild comes in, who would donate their time and materials to make a quilt. Each quilt is formed by loving hands and joined together, bits of fabric together, one piece at a time. A Quilt of Valor may be fashioned by only 1 or 2 individuals, or it may come about through what our guild calls a sewing day. As we quilt, we talk about our families and friends and how grateful we are to those who will be receiving what we call our quilt hug, when we wrapped in a Quilt of Valor, which is the name Catherine decided to call these quilts. From the beginning, Catherine had definite ideas of how these quilts would be. She said, I knew a Quilt of Valor had to be a quality-made quilt, not a charity quilt. A Quilt of Valor had to be quilted, not tied, which meant hand and machine quilting. Quilts of Valor would be awarded, not just passed out like a magazine or videos. A Quilt of Valor would say, thank you for your service, sacrifice, and valor in serving our nation in combat or in peacetime. The first Quilt of Valor was awarded in November 2003 at Walter Reed Army Medical Center. And surprisingly and interestingly, it was given to a Minnesota veteran who had lost his leg in Iraq. And as of January of this year, there have been 375,357 quilts awarded to veterans around the country. Our Headwaters Quilt Guild is nearing the 350 mark of awarding quilts. Most of the quilts are awarded at Veterans Day programs, like we did here in Bagley in November of 2023. Typically, the schools have been in Beltrami County, but with several of our quilt members being from Bagley, we were pleased that the Bagley School agreed to add the Quilts of Valor awarding to their Veterans Day program this year, and we hope to be back in the coming years. And again, we thank Tim Johnson and his group for allowing us to present Quilts of Valor at this fundraiser and hope to make it an annual event. Any active service member or living veteran who served in the Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, or Coast Guard are eligible to be awarded a Quilt of Valor. We welcome people to submit names to us for a possible Quilts of Valor award in the future. And joining me on stage tonight are fellow Quilt Guild members, Mary Ann Erickson, Linda McPherson, and Bonnie Underdahl. Our first and oldest veteran being awarded a Quilt of Valor tonight enlisted in the U.S. Army in August of 1948 at the age of 16 and served until 1951. And you may recognize Sydney, or Sid Young, from being a member of the Honor Guard at many funerals and the Color Guards at parades, school functions, and other events as called upon. He has proudly represented the American Legion, Urban Blitz Post 16, carrying the flag of our nation. Sid took his basic training at Fort Knox, Kentucky, served at Fort Bliss, Texas, at Fort Meade, Maryland, and is discharged from Presidio, California, with the rank of corporal. His MOS, or job title, was chauffeur, driving many head personnel, such as colonels and generals. The last general in Presidio was the head of the Western Defense of the Korean War. Sid is a member of the American Legion and has a paver stone at the County Memorial. Sid, please stand to receive your Quilt of Valor. Sydney Young, the Quilts of Valor Foundation wishes to recognize you for your service to our nation. We consider it our privilege to do so. Though we may never know the extent of your sacrifice to protect and defend the United States of America, we award you this Quilt of Valor as an expression of gratitude from a grateful nation.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank my family for coming, my sons, my grandson, and my wife, of course, in the end. Thank you.
Our only veteran sailor tonight enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 1960 and was discharged in 1963 with the rank of third-class machinist mate. Because of his brute strength, he was nicknamed Moose. He earned 7 ribbons during his military years. Military for Harvey Miller had been in the family, as his dad, several uncles and brother all served in the armed forces. He did his basic training at the Great Lakes Navy Base. He served on a destroyer carrier going to Cuba and to Germany, seeing the Berlin Wall. If you get a chance, he has many stories to tell of his life in the service. The mates from his ship have held annual reunions for many years, starting with 250 people attending. As the years have gone by, they have joined with sailors from other ships, and he hosted the event in 2011 at Fort Snelling in St. Paul. Harvey has been a member of the American Legion for 52 years. He's been the chaplain for the American Legion Urban Blitz Post 16 for the past 20 years. You may have seen him officiate at some veteran funerals. Another place you see Harvey is when he calls bingo at the Clearwater County Fair, with that booming voice unique to him. Harvey, please stand to receive your quilt of valor. Harvey Miller, the Quilts of Valor Foundation wishes to recognize you for your service to our nation. We consider it our privilege to do so, though we may never know the extent of your sacrifice to protect and defend the United States of America. We award you this Quilt of Valor as an expression of gratitude from a grateful nation. You can be seated, Harvey.
I was gonna say thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome, you're welcome. Our next veteran to be awarded the Quilts of Valor tonight was drafted and enlisted into the U.S. Army as Keith Bowman, who served our country from February 66 to 1969. He did his basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and had further training at Fort Knox, Kentucky, before being deployed to Vietnam. He was discharged from Fort Hood, Texas, with a rank of Spec 4. His MOS was truck driver / heavy equipment operator that carried over into his career, and he was with the 554th Engineers. Keith is a lifetime member of the American Legion Urban Blitz Post 16 and has gotten his 50-year membership pin. He also belongs to the Vietnam Veterans In-Country Motorcycle Club that enjoys stopping at nursing homes and other places that veterans are gathered. To be a member, you had to have boots on the ground. His group is looking forward to visiting the new Veterans Home in Bemidji that opened this past week. He also belongs to the DAV, and he and his father both have paper stones in the Clearwater Veteran Memorial. Keith followed in his dad Floyd's footprints as he had served during World War II. And grandparents are very important and often have an impact on their choices. Keith has a grandson, Garrett, that has completed 6 years in the Army Reserves as an MP and spent a year in Guantanamo Bay. Granddaughter, Olivia Bowman, Pham, and husband are stationed at White Sands Missile Base, New Mexico. Keith, please stand to receive your Quilts of Valor. Keith Bowman, the Quilts of Valor Foundation wishes to recognize you for your service to our nation. We consider it our privilege to do so, though we may never know the extent of your sacrifice to protect and defend the United States of America. We award you this Quilt of Valor as an expression of gratitude from a grateful nation. Our fourth recipient tonight is Leslie Heinrichs, and he is very honored to have served in the U.S. Army and was awarded numerous medals, including a Purple Heart, 2 Bronze Stars, the Army Commendation Medal, along with several others. The Bronze Star is a decoration awarded to members of the armed forces for heroic achievement or heroic service in a combat zone. He proudly wears his Vietnam cap with all these medals. It's the first thing he puts on in the morning and the last thing he takes off at night. Les was drafted into the U.S. Army in 1965 and discharged in 1969 with a rank of Sergeant E5. He did his basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington, and then deployed to Vietnam as a first gunner, making many landing zone missions. He is a member and past commander of the American Legion Urban Blitz Post 16. He also holds membership in the VFW and the DAV. And it is appropriate that Les is awarded his Quilt of Valor at this fundraiser to support the VA transportation program. Since his retirement, he has been a tireless volunteer for transporting veterans to VA medical centers. Over the years of furnishing rides for veterans, he has logged 250,000 miles plus and received a long surpassed 4,000-hour award. 2 citations for meritorious service from the American Legion. Les, would you please stand to receive your quilt? Leslie Heinrichs, the Quilts of Valor Foundation wishes to recognize you for your service to our nation. We consider it our privilege to do so, though we may never know the extent of your sacrifice to protect and defend the United States of America. We award you this Quilt of Valor as an expression of gratitude from a grateful nation. At this time, would all the recipients please stand as we give them a round of applause for their gratitude for themselves.
Let's also have a nice round of applause for the Quilts of Valor ladies for their work that they do.